Rune dragons are not your typical metallic dragons in Gielinor, and if you faced them before, you know they are no easy task. But what if I told you you can fully AFK them with no worry? Now if that's something that's interesting to you, make sure you stay tuned. Let's dive in. As for the requirements for the combat side of things, you will need 90 plus combat skills, which we will be using range, so 90 range, 90 defense, and 90 constitution, along with 95 plus prayer, since we will be using ancient curses, 107 herb lore for your elder overload salves, 85 plus invention so we can perk out our gear, and you will need tier 6 on the necromancy tree unlocked so we can use the darkness incantation. As for the quest, it is a good bit of questing that needs to be done. First off, you will need the Ritual of Majorat done and the Fate of the Gods to be able to go into the area for the Rune Dragons. Followed up, you will need the Temple at Intestine so you have your Ancient Curses unlocked, along with Dwarf Cannon quest completed so you have the Multi-Cannon unlocked. For the recommendations, I recommend having 112 plus invention so you can create potion reservoirs for your Elder Overload salves, along with 108 archaeology so you guys can have the Death Note Relic Power if you are not using the Underworld Grimoire 4. Cannon Restock perk does wonders. You can get that from the Artisan Workshop, and a legendary pet since some items do become out of reach since we are using range. Now for the recommended quest, I highly recommend getting the World Wakes done so you can unlock Death Swiftness for this method. Now for the minimal gear that you want to use for this setup is the tier 90 Dracolich armor set, the Vampirism aura, the range Fight Kiln cape, Amulet of Souls, Stalker's ring, and a Pernix quiver that holds Jas Dragonbane arrows, a decimation since it's super cheap, and the Underworld Grimoire 4. Now for the inventory, we have our potion reservoirs, our Elder Overload salves, which is super key since they have anti-fire in them, some magic notepaper since they do drop a lot of dragon equipment. Now we do have a nexus that has all of our ruins inside of it for us to cast darkness incantation, powder of penance, our dragon trinkets so we can teleport straight to the world gate, multi-cannon along with a bunch of cannonballs. I have the artificial's measure in here. The upgraded gem bag does work since they do drop a bunch of dragon stones. We have our spring cleaner for all of the salvages that they do drop, our enhanced Excalibur in case things want to go a little south, and our ancient elven ritual shard just in case your prayer drops a little too low. Now for the relic powers, it depends on if you have the Underworld Grimoire or not. Now if you don't have it, you're going to want to use Death Note, Berserker's Fury, and Death Ward. And if you do, Font of Life for the extra 500 health, Conservation of Energy to help you with your adrenaline, and the Death Ward to reduce the damage. Death Ward is mandatory because they do hit pretty hard and you want to be able to negate as much damage as possible. As for the perks, you're going to want to at least have Precise 6 on your decimation along with Eruptive 4 so you can deal as much damage with your abilities. For the Dracolich Halberd, you want at least Dragon Slayer on there. Enhanced Devoted 4, you can ignore that because we are only using Soul Split through this method. For the Dracolich Chaps, having Absorbative 4 Crystal Shield 4 on there does negate a bunch of damage over time. Now, if you've never been to the World's Gate outside of all the questing, all you have to do is just go to the Eagle's Peak Lodestone and run south, and you will eventually run into the World Gate itself. Another way you can get there is using the Metallic Dragon trinkets and then use the teleport on the right click option. Then you're going to click more, and then you're going to click on Ruined Dragons. Now, when you're in front, you're going to right click Quick Dial on the World's Gate. You're going to click on Ketchi, and you're just going to go straight to the Ruined Dragons. Now, once you make it inside of the arena with all of the Ruined Dragons, they are not aggressive, so you don't have to worry about anything, and you can set everything up at your pace. Now, you're going to want to make your way to the southeasternmost spot, and you'll see a statue on the far south side. You're going to stand one tile southeast, and then what you're going to do is you're going to move over 2 tile spots, and you're going to set down your cannon, and you're going to run back behind the statue in the same exact spot that you see me doing now. And then you're going to activate everything, your Vampirism or your Potion Reservoir with the Elder Overload Salve in it. You're going to sprinkle both of your Powder of Penances. You're going to hit the Darkness Incantation, and you're going to turn on your curses, which is Anguish and Soul Split. Now, once you have everything activated, you just click on your multi-cannon, and you just let everything get aggroed to you from that point. on. Now for the revolution bar that you want to be using to make this method fully AFKable, looks like this. It'll be Death Swiftness, Greater Ricochet. You don't need the Greater Ricochet. Ricochet would do just fine here. Snapshot, Dazing Shot, Corruption Shot, Rapid Fire, Shadow Tendrils, Sacrifice, Snipe, Bombardment, Binding Shot, and Piercing Shot. If you don't have Death Swiftness unlocked from the World Wakes quest, it is not a deal breaker. It just does additional damage to make the kills a little bit faster. Now, if you are unaware on how Rune Dragons work, they have 3 different phases, and the first phase is the only one you really need to pay attention to, since you need to use a Dragonbane piece of equipment in order to break their metallic armor. And that is exactly why we are using the Jas Dragonbane arrows, so we can break that first phase armor, and then the rest is just easy for each and every kill. Now, you may notice that some loot does drop a little bit further out of your area loot radius, and that is why we like to recommend having a legendary pet, because your legendary pet will run all the way out of the area loot radius and even pick up the loot that the Rune Dragons do drop. Now, the one thing you really do have to pay attention to while doing this method is making sure your darkness incantation is active. If it is not active, you will take a lot of damage, since you will be being attacked by so many Rune Dragons throughout this entire time of AFKing, because your ricochet is at the beginning of your revo bar. You also want to make sure that your potion reservoirs are actually working throughout the entire process as well, since your anti-fire is also a big reason why you will not take a lot of damage. Now, depending on your luck and how fast you can actually kill the Rune Dragons, you can expect around 142 to 200 kills per hour. Now, after an hour at Rune Dragons myself, I was able to make about 15.2 million GP in that hour. That's also excluding with the heavy rare drops that you do get. As you see, I did get one, so if we even took that out, I'm still looking at about 14.2 million GP in that hour from drops. Now, for the expenses, you have to add in your Jas Dragonbane arrows, your cannonballs, your Powder of Penances, and your Elder Overload salves, for a decent profit of 8.2 million GP per hour for fighting Rune Dragons. Now, if there is a different way to save GP, either being with the Jas Dragonbane arrows, your cannonballs, maybe there's a way that you can make the Rune Dragons aggressive to you other than having a multi-cannon. If there's a way of that, let me know. And plus, if there is a different way to sustain your prayer other than the Penance Aura, because you need the Vampirism Aura to be able to gain as much HP as possible, please let me know down in the comments. But that does come an end to this video. If you guys found anything interesting or useful, make sure to hit that like button. If you guys are brand new to the channel and would like to see more AFK money making methods like this, or even novice AFK bossing, make sure to hit that sub button and also hit the notification bell so you guys know when I upload next. But until next time, guys, I hope you stay safe. See ya.